Hello everyone, welcome to our yoga practice. I invite you, if you have any extra props, a blanket for your knees when you come to the floor, blocks for extra support, bolsters, and if you have a belt or strap or towel, these are all optional, but if you have them, gather them up. If you have an extra chair and you're going to remain seated, you can place your chair at the front of your mat with the seat facing you. Welcome again, and just to know that if you have any special conditions you're taking care of today, to always work within those parameters, taking care of any injuries that you might have. You're also welcome to omit any movement if it hurts you, and maybe imagine you're moving those limbs or come back to your breath. This morning, or today, we're going to talk about finding ease in our effort. So let's start out just by becoming aware of how we are in our chair, feeling the feet on the floor, rooting down, the bends of the knees. Feel the sitting bones releasing down into the support under you. And from those sitting bones, rising up through the torso, maybe finding a sense of lightness or lift where you can. Relax the shoulders, relax the jaw and the eyes, and maybe have a sense of a proud heart or a proud chest. Maybe the shoulders roll back a little. And again, I hope you enjoy your practice and find it beneficial. We're going to start with just some breath work. So start by just taking 2 or 3 breaths to notice how you are breathing today. Taking a full inhale and exhale. Do that a couple of more times. You can look down to the floor or maybe close the eyes if that's comfortable for you today. Inhaling. Exhaling, feeling your natural breath. We're going to move into alternate nostril breathing, and if you have closed your eyes, I invite you to open them again just to see the instructions. So we're basically shifting our inhalations and exhalations from the right to the left side of our nostrils. If this doesn't feel good for you today, or you have congestion in your nostril, or your arms don't want to lift, just imagine you are alternating the breath between right and left. And if today you're breathing through the mouth because of congestion or any issues, again, just envision breathing in and out through the right and left side of your mouth. So if you are able to, you can bend your elbow and place the thumb on one nostril and the ring finger on the other nostril. The 2 fingers in the middle are going to relax or maybe lightly sit on the forehead between the brows. So essentially, we're just going to plug or press lightly to stop air from coming in to one nostril as it comes in through the other. And again, you can use your imagination or your focus to do this. So bring the fingers up to the nose if you are doing that. Pointer finger and middle finger resting on the forehead or just relaxed. You might even hold the elbow with the other hand if you like. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. And on your next breath in, plug your right nostril, breathing, inhale through the left. Switch. Plug the left nostril, exhale out of the right. Inhale right, exhale left. Inhale left, exhale right. Inhale right, exhale left. And carry on for 3 more of your own cycles, following your own breath, switching sides each time you exhale. Inhaling one side, exhaling the other, staying there for the inhalation, exhale the other. going until you exhale out of the left nostril. And then release, let the hand come back to the lap. Take a full breath in and a full breath out. If your eyes are closed, open them again. Fluttering open the eyes. Alternate nostril breathing is to balance both the right and the left sides of our mind. And it also brings some little sense of release and relaxation. Now moving with the breath, we're going to take our hands to our knees, and as you inhale, start to lift the arms to the height that's right for your shoulders, exhaling to lower. Let's do this 4 more times. Inhale, taking the hands up to the height that's right for them, exhaling to lower. And if one of your arms doesn't want to lift, just use the arm that can and imagine the other one. And maybe you go higher, maybe not. Exhaling to the height that's right for your shoulder. Good. And then just let the hands release back down to the lap. And we're going to just take some tilts to the side. Take your right hand over to the side of the chair. Left hand can stay on the lap or maybe hold the chair as we tilt over, reaching the right arm straight out to the side and down. Coming back to center. Inhale here. As you exhale, release the other way. Inhale, come back. Exhale, tilting over the other way. Inhale, come back. Keeping this option, or if you'd like to reach the opposite arm up, inhaling up. Exhale, release down, inhaling up. Exhale, coming back to center. 1 more time each side. Either the arm is released down, we're just taking some side bends into our spine. Good. Then come back to a seated pose, moving down into our ankles and our feet. Let's take the right foot forwards and point and flex the foot. Pointing and flexing the toes forward and up. And then just take some circulation into that ankle joint and the other way. Take the right foot back to the floor. We'll do the same with the left, bringing our foot forwards. This time, if you'd like, you can add in the hands. Point the toes and the fingers down. Toes and fingers go up. Pointing and flexing the toe, just starting to lubricate the joints of our ankle and possibly our wrists. And then we'll circulate at the wrist and the ankle joint and the other way. Good. Let the left foot come to the floor. We're going to move our way up to the knees. So your option, if you're seated, you can extend the right leg, and as you bend, you just bring the toes to the floor, just feeling the knee joint and how it's doing this morning. If it's available to you, you can take your hands or strap underneath the leg and extend this way, bending and extending the leg. Again, just noticing our knee joint and how it's feeling today. 1 more extension, and then let the foot come to the floor, and switching legs. Again, left leg goes forward and we tap the heel on the floor, bend the knee, bring the foot back, focusing on the movement of our knee joint. And if it's available, lifting the foot off the floor, holding on to the back of the leg, extending and bending our left knee. Let the foot come to the floor. And take your right leg now. We're going to create just a tiny circle on the floor like we're drawing with the bottom of our foot. Starting to feel how the hip socket is feeling through this movement. And the other way. Let the right foot come to the floor, and we'll do that on the left side. Just taking some circular movement with our foot. Starting to open up in the hip joint. And the other way. Good. Bring that foot to the floor, and we're now going to widen the space between our feet. So just heel toe your feet out until you create a bit of space between the legs here, and we'll move into a forward fold. Hands come to the lap, Find that proud chest, breathing in, and as you exhale, we're going to hinge forward. So maybe you stay up fairly high, depending how your hips and back feel. If it's available to you and you want to lower down to the forearms, creating some space. Once again, finding ease where you can. Softening the jaw, softening the eyes. If you've released down, bring your hands back up to the lap and take your time. Let's come out of this forward fold. And when you get up, again, just finding a proud chest. Maybe the shoulders roll back. Maybe you lift the chin a little, shining the chest forwards and the heart forwards. And then come back to a more neutral spine. If you're staying seated, we're going to move into our warrior two pose. Right knee stays bent. Left knee starts to open up, placing the heel, letting it rest on the floor. If you are moving to standing, walk the feet back together. Rising up, take your time. And when you get there, we're going to bring the chair to the top of your mat. Now, we'll start out with the back of the chair facing you. Take your props just to the side so they're available. So if you're standing, we're going to step into our warrior two. So the right foot is going to stay forwards. We're going to step our left foot back 2 to 3 feet and open the toes slightly on the left foot towards the long side of the mat, allowing our body to open up. For those of you seated, your right knee is bent, your left leg is straight. Hands are on the hips to start if you're seated. If you're standing, right hand on the chair, left hand can come to the hip as you start to open up. From here, you decide what you want to do with your arms. So the right hand, if it feels okay for the shoulder, would come tracking towards the front of the room, or if you're seated, over the right leg. Left hand stays on the hip, or if it's okay for that shoulder, it reaches for the back wall. If it doesn't feel good to lift the hands today, for those of you standing, just find a proud heart here. Moving into our exalted or reversed warrior. Staying here, finding a lift in the chest. If you are seated or standing and your hand is reaching forwards, flip the hand so the palm is facing the sky and let the hand start to drift upwards towards the ceiling. Maybe you even draw the body back a little, gazing forwards, or if it's okay, looking up to your hand. Left hand rests on the hip or maybe comes down resting on the extended left leg. Take another breath in here, and as you exhale, let the hand come down if you've lifted it. For those of you seated, you're going to change which knee is bent. So straightening the right leg and extending bending the left. For those of us standing, we're going to heel toe our back foot forwards so that we can step back to the chair, and then we'll reverse to the other side. So now the left foot stays forward and we step back onto the right. Rooting down into the heels and soles of both right and left foot, whether you're seated or if you're seated, it's just the left foot that you're rooting down into. Again, left hand stays on the chair for now as we move the right hand to the hip. For those of you seated, or keeping your hands where they are, or if it's okay, taking the left hand forwards and maybe the right hand back. Relax the jaw. Feel the strength in the pose, but the ease around the shoulders, the eyes, the jaw. If it's available, flipping the left hand over, and if you're raising your hand, starting to tip up, proud chest. And even if you're not raising your hand, we have a proud chest. Maybe the gaze lifts slightly to the sky. One more breath in, and if your hand is raised, bring it back down to the chair. For those of you standing, heel toe your feet forward so that you can step back to the chair. For those of you seated, bring a bend to both knees, walk the feet back. And we're going to take ourselves into a downward dog. So if you're standing and you don't like to go too deep into it, keep the chair the way it is as you start to walk your body back, coming into your version of down dog, which may not be that deep. For those of you who like down dog a little deeper, place the hands on the seat of the chair and walk yourself back. For those of you seated, you're hinging forwards from the hips, hands are on the lap, drawing the crown of the head away from the tail. And if it's available, reach one or maybe both arms towards the space in front of you. If you have a chair in front of you, let the hands come down to the seat, releasing down, stretching out the back body. So if you're seated, your pose is hinged forwards with your hands on a chair, and if that's not available, one arm is reaching forwards or maybe both. Again, breathing ease into the effort. As you exhale, we're going to softly rise up. Those of you standing, bend the knees, bring the hands to the lap, and rise back up. Now, if you're standing and you're moving back to the chair, take your time coming to a seated position. If you're standing and you're moving to the floor, we're going to take our hands back to the chair, bending the knees so that we can take one knee back down to the floor and then the other. Move the chair out of your way and we'll bring ourselves to child's pose. And this is where the blanket is nice to have under the knees. For those of you seated, you're coming forwards again with your hands on the lap, and only if it feels okay, maybe the hands drift down towards the floor. For those of you on the floor, maybe a bolster would feel nice to put under the torso. If being in this position is not good for you today, and you're on the floor, please bring yourself around to lay down on the floor. Bending the knees, keeping the feet on the floor to start, and then maybe one or maybe both knees come towards the torso. You can take child's pose this way, or if you choose, maybe take a happy baby version instead. One more breath in, one more breath out. If you're seated, bring the hands back to the lap. Nice and easy, rise yourself back up to a seated pose. For those of us on the floor, we're going to either take a strap around the ball of the right foot, or if you don't have a strap handy, just take the hands around the back of the right leg as the foot goes towards the sky. If you're seated, your right leg is going to extend forwards. You're going to place your hands on your left lap and bring yourself into a forward